Hi, Juliana.
Hi, Grace.
We don't have anyone currently at the moment.
Okay.
Do awesome. So, hi everyone. Well, thank you for joining us. My name is Grace. I'm a senior majoring in math education, and I'm from Massachusetts. And so today we have an awesome tour guide with us, Juliana. She'll be showing us around campus from our gym to our dorms to academic buildings. And so during the tour, at any time, if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the chat, and either Juliana or I can answer them for you. So Juliana, take it away for us.
All right. Hi, everyone. As Grace said, my name is Juliana. I'm a sophomore neuroscience and behavior major, and I'm from Schenectady, New York. And yeah, so we're here for a tour. So our first stop that we have is outside Sawyer Hall, which is one of 27 residence halls that we have here on campus. And housing is kind of something that's really close to me because I am an RA in the residence halls, and an RA is a resident assistant. So basically, we facilitate and build a community within the buildings, and each building has a certain amount of RAs, so how many floors and residents are in the building. Another thing that's great about our halls is that each of our residence halls has a hall director, which is something that's kind of unique to UNH. And those hall directors, just like the RAs, are there to facilitate and grow a community. So one of my favorite things to do as an RA is to hold socials. So I actually just helped hold a tie-dye social the other day, which was so exciting. And other ones I've done are donut stress socials, where I got donuts for my residents and we talked about study tips around midterms, which is also so fun. And I just love being able to meet residents, talk to them, and help be a part of their UNH experience. One thing that's great about the residence halls here is that there's really any kind of residence hall that you're looking for, whether you're looking for more of a smaller building or a bigger building. Sawyer is one of our smallest residence halls that we have on campus. And then in contrast, right next to it is Stoke Hall, which is our largest residence dorm that we have on campus. So one thing that I always suggest is that going on to the housing page when you're going to sign up for housing and just looking at the size of the hall, the kinds of rooms that they have. We normally have doubles and singles this year. In non-COVID times, we also had triples, built up triples, quads. And there's also some suite style living in some of the newer buildings as well. So there's really anything that you could be looking for when it comes to housing. Another thing that we have within our halls is hall council. And I've actually participated in hall council my freshman year, and then also at the beginning of the year this year before I was called up to be an RA. And that was something that I really enjoyed because I was able to help plan socials, and also, just like the RAs before I was an RA, help foster that growth of community, which was super fun. And that's a great way to get involved specifically in your hall as well. So yeah, that's housing. So I guess we'll start heading off to our next stop. Grace, do you have a favorite resident dorm that you've lived in on your time on campus?
My favorite resident dorm. My freshman year, I lived in Christensen, which is one of the freshman only dorms on campus, and I lived on the 10th floor, so it was like known as like a penthouse. It was really nice. I had a really nice view of campus. I really liked that building, but right now where I am, I'm in the Mills Hall, which is kind of like suite style dorms, and I really like that as well. So I'm kind of torn between Christensen Hall and Mills Hall.
Yes, I know that Christensen as well as Williamson, which is one of the other freshman only dorms, and there's also two others, Lord and Alexander. I know that Christensen and Williamson are some of the most popular dorms for freshmen. My freshman year last year, I lived in Peterson Hall, which is one of the Cirques, and I loved it there. I lived on the COLSA floor, so the College of Life Science and Agriculture. And so all of my neighbors and I were kind of in the same classes, which was nice because I could just run over next door to my neighbor's room and knock and be like, hey, have you figured out that chemistry problem yet? Because I'm stuck, which was so nice. And I was able to like meet so many people that way. And there's also floors like that in a lot of different buildings, depending on if you're in Paul or in Cola. And there's also gender inclusive living in Devine and Alexander, which is great. And there's also accessible living as well in Congreve. So, and I know Congreve is another popular building, especially for some athletes as well.
Juliana,
So
we have some
yeah.
questions.
Okay, great.
First question is it hard to get into a double suite as a freshman?
I don't think so. For me, I didn't live in a suite. I lived in just like a normal double room that had the communal bathroom. But in Peterson, it was kind of a half and half. And I know that a lot of the people in Peterson were freshmen that also had a suite style. So I think when you're just filling out your housing, just put that, if that's your main preference, put that kind of at the top, and then just kind of work down from there. And housing is really great with working with students to try to get the housing that they want. I haven't met anyone that didn't get their first choice in housing, which I know might be kind of crazy, but at least in my experience, people have typically gotten what they've wanted. So that's good.
And then we have one more question. Is campus living or campus housing guaranteed all 4 years?
I believe that it's guaranteed all 4 years. And I know that 25% of the residence halls are saved for freshmen, that are reserved just for freshmen all around campus besides the freshman dorms. But another popular choice for residents and students on campus is that we also have off-campus and on-campus apartments. The on-campus apartments are the Gables, and the off-campus apartments as well. So a lot of students use that kind of as a transition if they eventually want to live just completely off campus for their senior year. I know a lot of people have done that as well. So those are other popular choices, and they're kind of a little bit off campus, but we have a bus system that brings you right to there, which is also super great.
Awesome. Feel free to talk about Stillings now. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So yeah, so this is Stillings. This is one of 3 dining halls. This is the dining hall that I come to most frequently because I live in McLaughlin Hall, which is right by. And so one thing that I always mention is that people here at UNH have very strong opinions about which dining hall is the best, and it's always up for debate. If you ask anyone, they'll always have a very strong opinion about their favorite dining hall. I think they're all pretty great. Kind of partial to Philly, which is Philbrook, which is on the other side of campus, just because that's where I went a lot last year. And late night Philly, they stay open for a certain amount of days, like pretty late, and students just go and get some food and hang out. And so I have some of my favorite memories from last year was there. So yeah, there's a lot of great dining options for everyone, and the food's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
What's your favorite food, Juliana?
My favorite food? Oh, I don't know. That's a really hard question. Okay, actually, here at Stillings, every single morning, I go and get a scramble with feta, spinach, and tomato. And Patrick, who's the chef at the omelet station, makes it for me every morning. It's the best scramble ever. And so yeah, that's definitely my favorite thing.
That sounds pretty good. Do you want to quickly describe what dining looks like during COVID right now?
Yeah, so dining during COVID has definitely been an adjustment just from last year. And I know that dining has worked so hard to make sure that there's still been lots of different food options for people, that might have dietary restrictions. So right now it's mainly to-go boxes for students, but there's lots of indoor seating as well. And they have plexiglass up so that you can still have food with your friends, still feel safe. And the options are still almost exactly what they were last year, which is great, because I was honestly worried about that when I came here. I was worried that it wasn't gonna be as good, there wasn't gonna be as many options, but they've done a really good job keeping everything very open. So
awesome,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, we're gonna hop off on our way, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Sounds good. So right now, Juliana and our camera woman is heading over to our gym. So they'll be right back with us. But as they're going over to the gym, I'll just quickly talk about the building that I am currently in. I'm currently in Smith Hall. This is where admissions is home to. So if you ever come on a tour, or if you want to meet your admissions counselor, this is the building. But attached with this building is 3 other resources for students on campus. So on the top floor, we have PACS, that stands for Psychological and Counseling Services. So if you want to talk to anyone, to vent out, anything like that, you do have 8 free sessions every year to go meet with them. And then on the second floor, we have CFAR, that stands for the Center for Academic Resources. So it's not really a tutoring center. It more helps students on how to take good notes, study skills, organization, budgeting your time, stuff like that. I always love to go into CFAR every semester to get their semester long calendar. So it's like a huge long paper. I just have my syllabi next to me, and I just write down all my due dates and deadlines throughout the whole semester, so that instead of a planner, which you can you don't really know what's coming up until you flip the page, a semester long calendar is just right on your wall, and you know what's going to happen next week, in the next 2 weeks, so you can plan ahead and get started on that. And then at CFAR, they also do have academic peer mentor type of thing. So if you want to be paired with someone as well, you can do that. Lastly, in our resources in Smith Hall, we do have a service called SAS, the Student Accessibility Services. So they're here to accommodate your needs on campus, whatever that might be, whether it's temporary or permanent, whether it's physical or any other. So for example, if you have a hearing disability, they'll make sure that all the videos and anything that you have, they'll put those captions at the bottom. If you broke your wrist for some reason, or your hand, you can contact them and you can hire a note taker in each of your classes, so you can still get those notes. If you, let's say, actually one of my friends, she actually broke her ankle from skateboarding. So she was on crutches during the winter time, which isn't the perfect time to be on crutches. So she contacted the SAS, and they actually got a van to pick her up at her dorm and drive her to her classrooms, to the dining hall, to wherever she needed to go. So these are some of the awesome resources that we have in Smith Hall. We have tons of other resources on campus as well. So for example, we have the Math Center. So if you have any math classes like calculus or calculus 1, anything like that, you can go in there and do your homework in there. And if you have a question, you can just raise your hand, and students or staff in there will just come over to you and help you. And the staff in there are usually just math majors or do really well in math. We also have the Connors Writing Center. So it's inevitable that you're going to be having to write papers during college. So if you want an extra set of eyes looking at your paper, you can go there. The staff will sit with you, look over your paper. It's more of the formatting of the paper and the structure, rather than the little tiny grammatical errors. So that's also a resource if you need that. I'm trying to think, we do have another resource or a service called CAPS. That's our Career and Professional Success. So they help you. So I would say CFAR helps us succeed academically, and CAPS help us succeed professionally. So CAPS, they do allow mock interviews, resume building. They even have a closet in their office where you can rent out nice looking clothes if you don't have any. They also have rooms that you can reserve in their office if you have an interview. So I know interviews, if you are mainly going to be online now, or at this moment they probably are because of COVID, but if you don't want to do it in your dorm, because you never know what background there might be, your roommate in the background, anything like that, you can go in there, reserve a room, and then have your interview in there. But it looks like we are hopping back on for the Hamill Recreation Center. So awesome, Juliana, take us away again.
All right. Hi, everyone again. So now we're back, and we are in the Hamill Rec Center, which is our gym on campus. Now, this is one of my favorite buildings, probably on campus, and I spend a lot of time in this building because I have work study here, so I'm here quite often, besides when I try to work out, which I probably should do more, but that's fine. So yeah, so one of the things that I love about the Hamill Rec Center is that there's something here for everyone. So, if you just like are sitting in your room, you're like, I don't know what to do, definitely come here because there's so many things that are happening. We'll kind of walk around a little bit to show everyone the different kinds of spaces we have, just because I know that people love seeing the gym and what we have to offer here. So this area over here, this is we have lots of different equipment over here that everyone can use to work out all different kinds of things, cardio, legs, shoulders, whatever you could probably think of, is in this area right here, our first floor fitness area. And then kind of coming back over this direction, we have some basketball courts normally during non-COVID times, but because of COVID, to make sure that all of the students on campus are being safe, we have socially distanced a lot of equipment out here and utilize that space really nice as well. So we'll also head upstairs. And this gym is like pretty relatively new. I think this part of the gym was built in like 2015. So it's nice to have a super beautiful building. I remember when I came here to tour for my first time, I walked in the gym and my jaw kind of dropped a little bit. I was like, wow, this is like really nice. So then up here on the second floor, we have an indoor track, which is 1/10 of a mile. So that's super nice, especially if it's not so nice outside, but you still want to go for like an actual run, but don't like going on the treadmills, which we also have over there. This is a great option. And then we also have a bouldering wall. A lot of my friends like coming here, going bouldering, so that's super nice as well. And then also up on the second floor, we have some demo kitchens and I know some nutrition majors during the normal year. They'll come and they'll give some classes, which is a great option for people that are living on like the off-campus apartments that have to cook for themselves if they want to, and they want to learn how to cook healthy meals. That's a great option for them too. And then we also have some studios where we have our Group X classes. My favorite Group X class is Zumba. My friends and I would always come last year to Zumba every week. It was so much fun. We memorized all the dances. So that was great. I've also been to cycling class, which is also super fun. We have beginner weights, yoga, anything that you could think of. It's a great way to, work with your friends, get all active and everything as well. Also at the rec center, we have an outdoor pool that is open typically during the year when it's nice outside. We also have an indoor pool called Swayze Pool, which is in the field house, which is part of our athletics complex that we have here. So the gym, like I said, is super nice. I love coming here. And so also, like I said, I can work here at the gym through work study, which is an option for some people, if it's offered to you. And I actually got the job through Handshake, which is a program that we have here. It's like a website and app that students can use that can help them find on-campus jobs or jobs also off-campus. So that's a great resource that I highly recommend using for students if they end up coming here and are looking for a job. And there are tons of on-campus jobs. The gym is just one place that employs lots of students. The dining halls and also transportation are other huge employers of students as well.
So Juliana, you were talking about like classes like Zumba and yoga. That's part of tuition, correct?
Yes. So membership to the gym and participation in group classes are all included in your tuition, which is super nice. Also during a non-COVID time, community members in Durham and professors can come here and use the facilities. Right now, just for the safety of students, only people that are on the UNH COVID testing system are allowed in the building. But yeah, it's all included in your tuition.
And then I remember hearing about there's like rentals you can do as well for campus recreation. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so through campus recreation, we have Outdoor Adventures, which is actually located right through back there through those doors. And students can rent out equipment for hiking or rock climbing, paddle boarding. There's so many different things. One time someone came and returned an ice pick, which I didn't even know we had, but I had to bring that back, which is kind of cool. So yeah, there's lots of different options that students can use if they just want to go camping on their own. But there is an Oregon campus called New Hampshire Outing Club, and they have different trips and stuff that are guided, and I know they have surfing ones, hiking ones, camping ones. So that's another big thing that students, if they are looking for more of a guided thing to get involved with, they can also do that as well. So yeah. So
awesome.
Grace
And then
has
to remind people who are watching, if you have any questions, feel free to put it down in the chat and Juliana and I can answer them for you.
all right. So is some intramural sports. We have about 30 club sports on campus, and then we also have a wide array of intramural sports, which is something that I know a lot of students like to get involved in. I actually just went last night to an intramural kickball game. Some of my friends have a team, so I went to support them while they played, which was super fun. Another one that I know that we have is intertube water polo, which is kind of cool. I kind of wanted to join, but I didn't have time, but that is on my bucket list of things to do before I leave UNH. So that's super fun. And I know that whoever wins gets like a t-shirt, and that's like a coveted t-shirt on campus. If you have that t-shirt, you're like pretty cool. So that's super fun as well. And then besides obviously our club and intramural sports, we also have our D1 athletics. So right now we're walking up and you can see Memorial Field, which is where our women's field hockey team plays. And then also panning over, we have the Whittemore Center. So this is our hockey ice rink arena. I've definitely spent way more time here than I probably should have. So one of the orgs that I'm involved in here on campus is the Cat Pack Captains. And that's had a very influential place during my time here at UNH. I'm actually an exec board member. I am the social media chair, and I just got reelected for next year, which is super exciting. So what we do is we kind of I explain it as we go to games. We wear face paint, we bring some really cool signs, we bring cowbells, and we just kind of go crazy. We try to get the energy up for the student section, cheering at the different sporting events. My personal favorite to go to is hockey, so that's why I spend a lot of time here. I'm like one of those people that gets here an hour early, first in line. They open the doors, I'm running to my seat, ready to go. So, and that's what we do in Cat Pack. We all get here super early, chill outside. So this is one of my favorite places to be. Also football. Probably my favorite memory from a football game last year was the first home game of the season. It's called the Chalk Toss. So that was probably one of my favorite events. And I remember we played University of Rhode Island on September 21st because the song September by Earth, Wind, Fire I love that song. And the band played it and it was on September 21st and it made me so happy. And we got some chalk and we did the I Believe in UNH chant and we all threw it up at the same time. And it was just such a cool experience and it was a beautiful sunset and we ended up winning the game and it was just overall so fun. And then I also love going to soccer, and our men's soccer team is actually going to be playing in the NCAA championships, which is so exciting. My friends and I are so pumped for that. And I actually have some residents that are on the team, which is also so exciting for them as well. And that's another big thing that we love going to as well. Besides volleyball, there's also track and field. There's just so many different clubs and sports and everything.
So Juliana, you were talking about the chalk toss. Is there any other traditions in other sports games?
Yeah, so we have lots of little traditions that we have. Probably the next biggest one besides the chalk toss is when we go to hockey games. We have, if we have a home hockey game against UMaine, which in athletics is our biggest rival, we have white out the wit. So we all wear white and the whole building is just basically like a whiteout, and it's so much fun. We paint our entire faces white, and with blue, and like have UNH all over the place. And then whenever the hockey team scores their first goal, we throw a fish on the ice. And one of my favorite memories from that is that we were playing, I think it was Northeastern, one game last year, and someone misplaced the fish that they had originally bought. So we scored our first goal, and just a fillet of salmon just lands on the ice, and it was just so funny. So yeah, and then another tradition that is kind of just like an overall UNH tradition, I guess, not specific to athletics, is someone will say, "It's a great day to be a Wildcat," and then you're supposed to respond with, "Every day is a great day to be a Wildcat," huh? And that is probably my favorite cheer out of all of them. So yeah, there's definitely lots of little traditions that we have, especially at least for me being in Cat Pack. There's so many different traditions and cheers that we have that I know that it's great. So yeah, this is another great spot, a good picture opportunity. I actually was looking through my photos and found my photo of me from the first time I stood here, which is kind of crazy. So this is the Wildcat, because we are the Wildcats, obviously, which was super exciting for me when I decided to come here, because I loved High School Musical growing up. And so like knowing that I was going to be a Wildcat was like kind of a cool moment. But so a tradition that we have is we will pet the nose of the Wildcat for good luck. So it's something that during my orientation, they had everyone coming from the field, and we all like walk by and pet the nose at the beginning of our time here at UNH. And then when you go to graduate, I know they also try to have people pet the nose. So it's kind of a starting and ending point for a lot of people. So that's kind of nice. Also, people come during finals to pet the nose for good luck. And there's also a camera on the Wildcat that you can go and look at that's like 24 hours, which is kind of cool, that I found one day. So if you ever just want to look at the Wildcat, see what's going on, you can always go look at that.
So question real quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you probably won't be able to answer this, and I don't know the answer as well. Someone was asking, what percent of students major in forestry and what percent of major in business? So we don't know the specific statistics on how many people major in forestry. Well, at least I don't know the percentage that major in forestry, but I can tell you that we do have 5 college divisions under UNH. We have the College of Liberal Arts, Life Science and Agriculture, Engineering and Physical Sciences, Health and Human Services, and business is its own like college division. It's called the Peter T. Paul College of Business and Economics. So definitely a good majority of students major in business, because that is one of the college divisions. But towards your answer or your question about like percent of students major in forestry, I do not know that answer, but we can definitely ask one of our admissions counselors, and we can get back to you on that.
Yes, definitely. I'm also not sure about the statistics on that one. But one thing that I do want to mention, kind of related to forestry, is that we have College Woods, which is kind of through Campus Rec. And it's kind of in the back of campus, and it's probably another one of my favorite places on campus. And it's so nice just because if you're looking to kind of get away from campus, but like don't actually want to leave, it's the perfect place to go. And it's nice because you're kind of just in like a bunch of, brick buildings. And then the next second you're in the middle of the woods. And I like to go hammocking with my friends a lot. We'll just go set up our hammocks by the water and just kind of hang out. Yeah. So, and they also use it for labs. One of my friends is a sustainability and conservation major. And I know that he goes out there a ton to do different labs. I know the intro bio classes go out there. They test the soil, the water, everything. So that's another great thing that we have, and kind of gives students a hands-on experience when it comes to like outdoors, forestry, sustainability.
Yeah, and then talking about kind of the wooded area, and like you can go hiking in it, biking, anything like that. Do you want to also talk about like the other things around UNH, like that people can do on the weekends or something?
Yeah, so there's lots of things to do on the weekend, during a normal non-COVID year, but also during this year. People have been working super hard to make sure that there's so many different events going on campus. Besides sporting events, there's also Campus Living Association, which holds a lot of events. I will actually be participating in Family Feud tomorrow. I'm a little nervous, but I'm super excited. And then we have, besides in Durham, the bus system that we have here takes you to the surrounding areas, including Newmarket, Dover, Portsmouth, Newington. I like to go to the mall in Newington. My friends and I go all the time. I actually just bought this sweatshirt last weekend when I went. So that's a great option. Portsmouth is a super cute place to go, right by the water, lots of restaurants. And we also have the Amtrak station right on campus that goes all the way up to Portland, Maine, and all the way down to Boston, Mass. So, if you're really looking to get off campus, you could take those, or just go kind of not as far off campus on the buses to the surrounding areas as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So right now we are outside James Hall, which is home to conservation and sustainability. So I kind of touched on one of the majors that we have when I was talking about College Woods and being able to go out there. But sustainability is kind of something that's just kind of ingrained in the UNH community, which I love, and it just always has a presence here, which you wouldn't think like, oh, like, is this college sustainable? But it's honestly so important to know that you're contributing to making sure that everything you're doing is, saving the planet, basically. About most of the core of 100% of the core of campus is powered by sustainable energy. And then the surrounding parts of campus also are, and right here behind me, we have the Cogen power plant, where they take fuel and oils from the Rochester landfill, and they bring it here and they process it, and that's what's used to power campus. So that's like probably the main thing that's most noticeable. Also, our dining halls are super sustainable. They compost all the food, which is great. But there's also just like little things as well. So on top of James Hall, they collect rainwater, and that's what's used to, fill all the toilets, which is kind of cool to think about. So there's just all these little things that's super nice. We have a Platinum Star in Sustainability on the STARS ranking, which is an international organization that over 600 colleges and universities are involved in. So to be able to have that is super great. And it's nice to know that that's something that we have here. And there's just so many majors and minors surrounding sustainability and conservation that if it's something that you want to get involved in, I would highly recommend doing that. One of the discovery classes, which is kind of like our general education classes, which I'll kind of touch on a little bit later. But one of my favorite discovery classes that I took was conservation and sustainability technology. And I learned about the Cogen power plant, but I also just learned about all different sustainability topics. And I loved that class so much. It's probably one of my favorite classes I've taken here. And then another thing with sustainability is over 300 faculty and staff participate in research surrounding sustainability. And that's just one of the many research areas that we have here on campus. And students, no matter what your college is, what your major is, are encouraged to get involved in research. University of New Hampshire is a R1 research school on their Carnegie scale, which is basically, I say, just kind of like a fancy way to say that we have really high level research here for undergrad students, which is great. Experience, you get hands-on experience with professors that are trained in these fields that you're interested in. Right next to us, we have Hewitt Hall, which is where CHHS, one of the colleges that we have here, is housed in. This is also the building where I have the lab that I do research in. So I do research relating to neuroscience and behavior, which is my major, and also communication sciences. And I actually am going to be third author on a paper that's being published, which is super exciting, on the neuroscience behind deception. So that's a super great experience. And personally for me, I'm planning on going to grad school after this. So being able to have my name on a paper before I even go into grad school is such a big deal for me and something I'm really proud of, and happy that I've had the opportunity to be a part of. And we actually just had our Hamel Undergrad Research Conference, which is a huge conference that we have here on campus. Due to COVID, it was online this year, but hopefully next year we'll be able to be in person again. And I was able to present in that some of the work that is included in that paper. So that's super exciting. And I know a lot of my friends are also involved in that, and there can be different awards. My one friend won the highest award, which is super cool. So yeah, research is a great thing to get involved in. And just kind of, if you know a professor that does research that you're interested in, you can just kind of approach them. Or we also have the Hamil Undergrad Research Center, which is actually in Conant Hall, which will be passing pretty soon. So you could also just go there and they can help you get involved in research as well. I found out about research in my intro to neuro class that I took my first semester here. And my professor had a lot of different professors in neuroscience come in and just talk about their research to see if we were interested in anything. And then I just kind of reached out to the professor and we had a little talk, and then I was part of the lab. So that's super exciting. And I should be hopefully starting on a new project doing psychedelics and intervention, which is super exciting for me because that's basically exactly what I want to study in grad school. So being able to just get started on that right now before I even get to grad school is just amazing.
Awesome. We have a question in the chat. One of the questions is, are students allowed to have a vehicle on campus? And if so, where do you park them?
Yes. So students are allowed to have cars on campus except for your freshman year while you're here. But there are lots of places on campus to park. If you ask a UNH student, they would probably say that parking is the hardest thing to do on campus. But there are lots of lots off and on campus that you can get a permit for, just all around campus. So, depending on where you're living and stuff. But even if you don't have a car on campus, I've mentioned the bus system that goes to the surrounding areas. They also go all over campus all day, every day. So if you wanted to use that system, you could, but when you're on campus, everything is within a 10 to 15 minute walk from one side of campus to the other. And a lot of people also have bikes. Some people have mopeds. I know some people have the motorized long boards is a big thing this year that I've noticed. So there's lots of ways to get around campus. Everything's really accessible here.
I would definitely agree on that. And also questions, if you have any more, definitely feel free to put them in the chat.
Yeah. So right now we are outside Diamond Library, which is the main library that we have here on campus. We also have a few others, including the physics library, which is in Demerit Hall, the chemistry library in Parsons, and the engineering library in Kingsbury. I know I keep saying this, but this is also one of my other favorite places on campus. I guess I have a lot. But I love coming to this building. I've spent a lot of time here this semester. I like going up to those windows up there is in the 5th floor quiet room. I have a nice view of T Hall, which we'll walk by. And it's super silent in there, and I just get all my work done. But actually, when you enter into the building, you're on the 3rd floor, which is good to know because I remember when I first got here, I did not know that, and I was very confused where I was. But they have that, and so they also hold different events here around finals called Frazzle-Free Finals. And I know one of the big events that people have gone to in the past is the Primal Scream, and they have all the students come into the lobby area and you just scream for a minute straight at the top of your lungs, getting all your stress out, and then you get ice cream after, and who doesn't love ice cream? So yeah, and they also have the Parker Media Lab, the Connors Writing Center. So, if you wanted to borrow some equipment like a GoPro or something, you could do that. And then Connors Writing Center, if you're, having issue writing a paper, at any stage in writing the paper, you could come here and there's people that can help you. There's also a librarian that's specific to freshmen, which is great. And we also have librarians that are specific to each college, and research librarians, which is cool because, you want someone that can really help you. So having librarians that are specific to each of those things is super helpful.
Awesome. And I feel like a lot of people use the library, and I feel like some people think that college students don't use the libraries and do their homework, but I would say there's a good amount of people in the library. I always see studying and doing work, and I would agree with Juliana. I feel like the library is one of my favorite places on campus. I do my homework there. Just because I need an environment where I see other people do homework and then I feel motivated to do mine. But we do have the quiet rooms in the library. So if you need dead silence, that's there. If you need a little bit of noise, we have that as well. Or if you need to reserve a room in the library, you can do that as well on our website and just reserve it for 4 to 20 people.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. There's lots of different spaces depending on, what kind of environment you need to study in. Another thing that I would recommend is a lot of these academic buildings just have little sitting areas and stuff. And so whenever you're walking through, I always see people studying there. So, if you're not super into going to the library, you're it's a little too formal and you just kind of want to go somewhere where you'll see a lot of people, but you'll be able to have that nice area to sit. I would definitely recommend going there. And when the weather gets nice, a lot of people sit outside, specifically on T Hall lawn, which is right behind me, and also across the street in the fishbowl. A lot of people set up, just towels, blankets, hammocks, and they just sit, enjoy the sun, get their homework done. And it's so nice to be able to see people outside just enjoying their days. But this behind me, this is Thompson Hall or T Hall. And I always like stopping here because I think it's a good spot. Because whenever you Google a picture of, you say University of New Hampshire, you'll probably see a picture of T Hall. It's kind of the staple on campus. And walking underneath Thompson Hall is one of my favorite things to do. When we came for orientation, we came from over by the field and they had orientation leaders, they had the mascots, everyone lined up under here, and they had all of the new incoming freshmen walk under here, and everyone just cheered and high-fived everyone, and it was just kind of your welcoming to campus moment, and it was just so nice being able to enjoy that. And I think it's something that's really symbolic of the community that you are entering into when you get here.
Definitely. We have another question in the chat. So Juliana, what do students typically do on their free time on campus and then also off campus in the area?
Yeah, so like I said, there's lots of things to do during your free time. Personally for me, I spend most of my free time, I'll go to sporting events. Like I said, that's a really big thing that I like doing. Going to the library, doing homework, which I know, you probably wouldn't think free time, but I don't mind doing it. But then also just going, you could also just walk downtown. There's a lot of restaurants and just little shops that you can go to. And then also just the surrounding Durham area is also really pretty. In the fall, my friends and I went apple picking, which was probably one of my favorite memories from this year that I've had. It was just a super fun day. You can go down through College Woods to Oyster River, just hang out. We also, in the MUB, which is the Memorial Union Building, which we'll get a glimpse of, maybe be able to walk by. We also have two movie theaters in there. So my friends and I will go see movies there as well. We also have a games room. So if you're looking for something to do on campus, there's so many things. I remember the day that I moved in last year, they brought all the freshmen out onto the basketball courts by my building, and the RA said, he goes, if you find yourself in a month sitting in your room staring at a blank wall, you're doing something wrong, because there's so many things to do on campus. We have over 250 orgs to get involved in, from basically anything that you could imagine. And a lot of them also have their offices in the MUB. I know CatPack, we have our office in the MUB where we hold all of our signs. So really, if there's no reason that, you wouldn't be able to go get involved in something and have something to do on the weekends.
Yeah, and definitely we also have just in general in New Hampshire, we are about 20 minutes from the beach. So if you're a beach person, maybe on the weekends you can go there if it's nice out. And then we're about an hour to an hour 15 away from the White Mountains. So if you like hiking, if you like skiing, snowboarding, that's also another opportunity to do something on the weekends there.
Yes, definitely. My friend and I, we went to the beach the other day to watch the sunset, and we just got some snacks and chilled on the beach, and it was super fun.
That sounds so fun. I went to the beach this past weekend, and I brought my dog to the beach for the first time. It was so fun. It was really nice because also there's not a ton of people on the beach right now, so it was, yeah. But it looks like we're going into Hamilton Smith now. So do you want to kind of describe what where we are?
Or Hammersmith, which is one of the
Oh, Juliana, you're cutting out right now. You might have to log back out and log back into Zoom.
It's probably one of my favorite academic buildings. We'll kind of go off to the side, and hopefully the kids will log back out and come back in. We'll be back to you in a second.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry for those technical difficulties, but we're about to head into Hamilton Smith. Hamilton Smith is one of our academic buildings. It's kind of home to, I would say, the College of Liberal Arts, like history, philosophy, journalism, English is in there. So you had to take English 401 as a freshman, and that's where your class will be held. So no matter what, you will have a class in Ham Smith. And it looks like they're about to show us the classroom, which would be awesome. But if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I can try to answer it for you. Oh, it looks like they're back on.
Hi.
So I just told them what Ham Smith like houses, but feel free to keep on going.
Yeah, so Ham Smith, like I said, is just one of the building. And then, so just a little bit about academics. When you come to UNH, you'll have to take your discovery courses, which I mentioned earlier, which is kind of like your gen ed courses, which, you know, some people probably think those are probably going to be my biggest classes, the ones I don't want to take. I just want to take my major classes. But the discovery classes that I've taken have been some of the best classes I've taken. And were also one of my smallest classes. I took my fine performing arts discovery last semester. There's only 12 of us in the class. So when it comes to class size, I know that's something that I was really nervous about. I was like, I'm just going to be stuck in these, you know, intro courses. And there's going to be so many people. I'm going to get lost. I'm not going to be able to contact my professor. And I was just kind of really stressing out about everything. But that was not the case at all. You know, for me, at least, my general chemistry course was probably my biggest class that I've had. And that was about 120 students in a lecture hall. But the professors are super accessible by email. You know, some of them, they also hold, all of the professors have to hold office hours. And I would highly recommend utilizing those. Also your teaching assistants. I've been utilizing those office hours a lot this semester for my biochemistry lab. So, you know, just reaching out to your professors and communicating with them is something I would really recommend for all students, no matter what class you're taking, no matter what your major. Definitely utilizing the resources that you have. And then you also are assigned an academic advisor when you get here. And they're that. My academic advisor, I met with him the other day, and I actually just registered for my classes for next semester. So they're just making sure that, you know, like I said, you're staying on track, signing up for the classes you need, meeting all the requirements. Yes.
I think the connection is not that well where you are right now. Do you think you can head outside and talk about Ham Smith there?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We will
Thank you.
head outside.
So as Juliana and our camera woman is heading outside to get better connection, they were talking about like scheduling and classes and stuff like that. But I do want to mention for scheduling, I know it's really different from high school to college. In the college, you have more freedom. So if you want to take a class, for example, a class can have multiple sections. So if you want to go and take the class in the morning, you can. If maybe it's later in the afternoon and you want to sleep in, you can also do that as well. But it looks like they have better connection now. So feel free to start again.
Yeah, no, so that was a great point that you just made, Grace, about the classes. At least for me, I like putting all my classes together. So just kind of knowing if you're more of like a morning person, an afternoon person, is super important for when you go and sign up for your classes. So I was just going on and saying before that, you know, you have your academic advisor who helps you find those classes, make sure that your scheduling is all working out and everything. And they're another great resource to have. And that's one of the things I love about UNH. They have so many different resources for anything that, you know, you think you could need. And just, I think big thing is just communicating with people about what you need, advocating for yourself.
Wait, Juliana, I have to cut you off again. I'm
Okay.
sorry. The connection is not really good by Hamilton Smith at all right now.
Okay.
So I think we'll have Juliana and the camera woman log back off real quick and log back in. I believe towards the student life building. So I can kind of give a quick introduction about that. So Juliana kind of mentioned it before. The student life building is just like the student union. We have a motto here saying, if you're bored, you choose to be bored, because there's so much to do. Juliana touched upon a lot of things already in the MUB. For example, the movie rooms that we were talking about, or the movie theaters. We have 2 different movie theaters. We also have a lot of food options in the MUB as well, and just a lot of fun events, which Juliana will most likely say during tour. But yeah, I would say the MUB is almost like the heart of campus, almost kind of like T Hall is, or Thompson Hall is kind of like the staple icon. But I would say the MUB is really the heart. No matter what kind of position you are on campus, whether you're staff, faculty, student, anything like that, you're always going to be at the MUB at some point, type of thing. But so going back to a little bit about classes and scheduling, sorry to be a little bit all over, but what I wanted to get across for scheduling, like I said was previously, if you know that your classes are kind of they come at different sections, then you can choose which time you want to have it at. So like I was saying, if you want a morning class, you can, if you're an early bird, you can do that. If you like to sleep in, you can take the later sections. And especially with intro level courses, because they're intro level and a lot of students might have to take them, there should be more sections for that. But when you go more in depth into your major, they're most likely like a solid like 1 class for that type of thing. But it looks like we're back. Oh, definitely better. So now the MUB, Juliana, take it away.
All right, yeah. So hi again. So right now we are outside of the MUB Memorial Union building that I mentioned earlier. I've talked about how we have a games room. A lot of orgs have their clubs and offices here. And then also the movie theaters. And this is kind of the hub of campus. Attached to the MUB is Holloway Commons, which is another one of our dining halls. It is the biggest dining hall that we have on campus. And this is just a great place, another place that if you really don't want to go to the library, you can come here. A lot of students study here. Personally for me, I like sitting on this back deck up here outside, get a nice pretty view of the trees. And I just do my work out in the sun and it's super nice. So yeah, that is the MUB, kind of the hub of student life here.
Awesome. And so I believe we're going to be wrapping up soon. So do you want to maybe say like your closing or like why you chose UNH or something like that?
Yeah. So I don't know if you could tell, but I love UNH so much, which is why I became a tour guide, among the other things that I'm involved in. But something that I always like to, kind of leave people with is something that my mom told me about when I was going through my college tour. She just said to me, can you picture yourself here? Can you imagine yourself making a home here? And I think that's super important. And so for me, UNH is definitely my home. I love everything about it. I have so many great memories and I can't wait to make more. And I've just met so many amazing people. And so hopefully, for those that are watching, hopefully you can see this maybe as your home and, will love UNH hopefully as much as I do.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Juliana, for the awesome tour. So thank you all for joining us for this campus tour. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at admissions.unh.edu. You can even direct message us on our Instagram, which is Be a UNH Wildcat, and we can get back to you on that. So also keep an eye out for more live tours on our YouTube channel. We'll be having some this weekend and later on in May. And so, yeah, thank you for hopping on. We hope to see you soon.